welcome to the Winning Hand podcast, the podcast about Marvel Champions, one card at a time. My name is Boom Guy. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I have the good fortune to be joined by two guests. I have a special returning guest named Scarlet Rhodey.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for having me back.
Yeah,
I know.
You are.
Hi.
Welcome.
The people of the People's Podcast.
Yes.
I am good. Excited to talk about another card and character I like. So,
one of your favorites, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm also joined by Lazy Titan. What's up?
Wow, relegated to guest status. Okay.
Hey, I'm just trying to mix it up, man. I don't want to always introduce you second. Sometimes I introduce you third. And even that one time, you introduced the whole podcast, remember?
That was that one time, but also you did say joined by two special guests and then introduced me second. So it's fine. I've only been here for most of them. That's chill.
We're also joined by Lethus. I'm just kidding. He's not here, everybody.
Pranked.
He's gone. Pranked. Okay, so this is episode 72. We are talking about She-Hulk. So do not adjust your dials. We are doing what's called a deep dive. And what a deep dive means here at the Winning Hand podcast is instead of a bi-weekly episode, we will do weekly episodes for the month. So for the month of August 2025, we have 4 episodes on She-Hulk, and we're going to deep dive and talk about 4 cards that we think represent the characters overall in the game. We did this once with Vision back in June of 2024, I believe, and we did his hero card, and we did... I don't remember the other 3 cards we did, but we did 4 cards. Anyway, we are going to do 4 cards this time. So starting this time with the alter ego and hero She-Hulk Jennifer Walters. And Scarlet Rhodey is a lore comics expert, so he is here to give us some real juicy information about the character, which I know everyone is excited about. I hope everyone who's watching this on YouTube notices I have green and purple lights behind me today, so it is just for She-Hulk, so we're very excited. Okay, are you guys ready?
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Buckle up. Let's get into it. Before we get into it, though,
Buckled.
So unbuckle. Let's back up. Before we get into it, I have a listener email. So let's jump into that real quick, and I'll read that, and we'll discuss quickly. Listener email says, hey, I like your podcast's hook of doing one card at a time. Were there any other ideas you were kicking around before settling on that one? I've considered starting something, but the space seems pretty saturated, and I feel like any thoughts I have already been said and then dissected in the comments section anyway. Have a good weekend and enjoy the gaming. Solo Papa is that sender there. So thank you for enjoying the hook of one card at a time. I think it is sort of unique. It sets us apart. I like that we have our own thing. Were there other ideas? Lazy Titan, do you remember? Did we have other ideas for the podcast before we started?
Don't think so. I think the idea of starting the podcast was kind of centered around the idea of one card at a time.
Yeah,
I think it was
kind
kind of critical to the whole conceit.
Scarlet Rhodey wasn't there. It's not really fair to put you on the spot here, but I'm glad you're here. And what do you think about the hook of one card at a time? Does it work?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's pretty interesting because you can do a deep dive, and you all do enough variety in the card types and all of that and the aspects. You can kind of bridge and grow from there.
Yeah, thank you. We are the number one podcast in the world, as you just said, and we also are the People's Podcast. I appreciate you bringing that up.
Great answer to a very loaded question.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome to our podcast. What do you think about the premise?
Yeah, that's
welcome
a fair
to the show.
point.
Talk about it, how much you like it.
Would it be weird if you were like, I don't know, it doesn't really work, actually?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan, actually.
Kind of literally the worst idea ever. But yeah, great.
I unsubbed after a few episodes.
For you
not for me.
I've actually never listened to the show. Who are you guys?
Yeah. You're still
around? Critical Encounters? No.
I got bored after
fun,
episode 10.
folks.
I left.
He is considering, Solo Papa is considering starting something, but the space, I think that means content creation around the game, seems pretty saturated. Maybe we can give him some ideas. Lazy Titan, Scarlet Rhodey, what do you think is missing in the content space? Like, what do we not have? I think we have a ton of solo gameplay. I think that is oversaturated. But what do you think is missing in the space? Either of you can answer this.
Here's the thing. Solo Papa said all the opinions have already been said and dissected.
False.
As someone is probably false, but I get the idea. As someone who is known to have very well thought out, structured, unbiased opinions on the game of Marvel Champions, I think who cares? Just say it again. I mean,
we are at the very beginning of about 75 minutes of new opinions and thoughts. So they literally have not all been said. There is more to come. And although mine are objectively correct, you might still have some that are fun to listen to. So I would say, I'm just kidding. That didn't sound very nice. That's just Boom Guy being Boom Guy. But I don't know, I think that's cool. Like, don't overthink it. If you really want to do content creation, it is a fair bit of work. It does take a lot of time, more than you probably think, to be consistent with it. But jump in. There's a number of written blogs. There's podcasts. There's audio podcasts only. There's some that do video, some that do both. There's gameplay channels. There's, people do all kinds of stuff. They do deep analysis on cards and the math of things, and I don't do that. But, just do what works for you, what you would want to listen to. That's what I'm doing. I'm creating content that I would want to listen to, that I think is entertaining and enjoyable, and that's what keeps me going. Otherwise, I would have burned out along. Any final thoughts on this for Solo Papa?
Not really. I mean, I think that was pretty well said.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you. That was very
Try
well
it
said.
out.
Yeah, give it a shot. Try it
Yeah.
out.
Don't forget, if you want more exposure, to contact the mods, the main Discord, because we can make you content creators.
Yes.
So that you can post.
Or because you're a mod on the main Discord server.
I am a mod on the main Discord.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of work.
It's less now. We added a few, like 6 months ago or so.
Okay.
And they've been great. So
Friend of the show, Astrodar, is also a mod, I believe.
yes, he's one of those who joined and made my life better.
Good dude. Okay, so that is kind of where we have that, and we will move on into what we have been playing recently. Who is excited to go first? Who wants to talk about what they've been playing recently?
Easy. Got it.
All right, Lacey Titan, go
Recently,
first.
I have been playing a deck that I published not too long ago, but a little while ago, called the Deja Crew, which is my Star-Lord raft deck. The idea of the deck is that you can use the raft to keep pulling minions, and that will stack encounter cards in front of you, and so you'll be able to get all your cool Star-Lord payoffs while knowing that the encounter cards aren't that bad. It's very Star-Lord. It's super glass cannon. If anything goes wrong, you just lose. Definitely not a solo deck for all those listeners, avid listeners who know how much I play solo. Not designed for that, but it is fun. I think in a 3 or 4 player game, if you have someone who can who can kind of block a little bit for you, it's super nice. I also, in classic fashion, did forget to put allies in there.
Forget or
I don't
do
like
it
it
on purpose.
Did it on purpose, intentionally.
Yep.
Yeah. I forgot how Star-Lord worked, and maybe we want a couple in there. But basic idea remains the same. Infiltration's ridiculous. It's a very good card. It gets you minions, and then you just kill minions, and then thwart more by killing them because of the raft, and then you keep them in front of you. And then once you have 3 in front of you all the time, you can just kind of beat up these little small minions for value with like interrogation room and stuff like that, or whatever you want. And then they're also thwarting, and then you can get your big sliding shots and your gutsy moves and your 8 hand size and all your cool Star-Lord stuff.
That sounds great. I actually, fun story, so this is the mainline Winning Hand podcast. We have an offshoot series that I do with Andy R. called All Hands on Decks, where we really break down community decks, and we each bring some each time. And the last episode that we discussed, actually, he brought Deja Crew to discuss as one of his decks he wanted to showcase, and so we talked about it quite a bit, so I won't bore you with any further thoughts. But it's a fun, quirky little deck. It's not the normal, what I would expect from Lazy Titan, but it's an interesting deck.
A little different. It's definitely more, you have to think more than once per game, which is uncharacteristic of decks I build, but it's fun.
Scarlet Rhodey, why don't you go next? What have you been playing?
Not a lot. I feel like this summer I've been so busy. So it's been mostly catch up. I'm like so behind. I haven't played a number of the newer heroes. The last big stuff that I played though was going through the Ages of Shield campaign for the first time. As I always do, I do a campaign through with one of the precons. One of the two heroes. So I obviously chose Maria, who just annihilates that entire campaign.
Yeah.
So that was fun. And then I did do before I went on vacation last week, played a little bit of Nick Fury, just not part of the campaign, just with his precon. And so I'm not sure how I feel about him yet. Comparatively, I like Maria better. But yeah, so playing that. But I have everyone but Silk of the new wave, and so they
Okay.
just need to like hit the table. Though I did utilize some of the some cards from one of the later heroes in the deck that we will talk about later. And
Ooh.
so,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So I was playing that, some
Okay.
She-Hulk,
Okay.
which is always good.
Yeah, stay tuned, listeners, because as we've started doing now, at the end of the episode, after we discuss the card, we will go over the decks that we brought. Each of us built a deck, and we'll just kind of briefly go through it, and then I will post them in the show notes or the description so you can check them out and play them. Hopefully, you like them. Okay, well, I have been famously, I should say, Nick Fury ended up number 2 in Lazy Titans rankings. Big Nick
Yes,
Fury
This
yeah,
is true. Big
yeah.
Nick Fury guy. Huge fan.
Yeah, big if true.
Loved him a lot more than I thought I would, and I never looked back. That's my guy right there.
Hey, I love it.
He's not the number one. He hasn't unseated the king, but
He is not.
he's very, very fun.
I have been playing a bunch of Rogue recently. Rogue landed kind of low in the community rankings, so in classic Boom Guy style, that interested me in going back to her to try her again. Her and Spectrum, I've been playing a bunch of both of them because they scored so low. I was like, well, let's go back. So I've been playing a bunch of Rogue. I just published a deck not too long ago. If I remember, I'll put it in the description, but I probably won't. It's somewhere on Marvel CDB. Built around the idea of minions. So every time she touches a minion with her touched card, she gains overkill. So all of her attacks gain overkill. So the idea is to summon minions, boost your basic attack, overkill, use follow through to do a bunch of damage, draw cards with Hall of Heroes and Blood Rage, and it's fairly straightforward. I did a gameplay with Ray Plays Games on his channel using that deck. Now we played against Master Mold recently, so that's on his channel. If you want to check it out, Ray Plays Games is awesome. So I'm playing a bunch of that, and then I had a meetup with my local crew, and I brought one of my favorites now. I can say she has ascended into my upper tier of heroes, Jubilee. Jubilee is awesome. Jubilee is so fun. Jubilee may even have snuck ahead of Iceman at this point. I don't know, but she's right there for me. I played a very simple Jubilee hone technique aggression, and just everybody else was setting up their cards, and I was just slapping the villain, you know. It's just a ton of fun to play full body charge for 16 damage and, you know, play uppercut for 11 damage and you just go face, you know. It's a good time. So Jubilee is great in all aspects and aspectless, famously, but she's really fun. I don't know. How do you guys feel about Jubilee? Up or down on Jubilee?
Mid.
I
Up or
have only
down?
played.
And like
Pick one of these two, and he says, I pick neither. Come on.
I
I have
think
only
neither.
played Jubilee very briefly, and I played her in the basic deck that you had mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
I didn't love it,
Well,
but I could
Okay.
see how people like that. It wasn't doing it for me. But it was also like 11 p.m. on like day 3 of the con, so I was a little tired. It could also have been that.
Yeah, I
Rudy?
think I want to like her a lot, but I think now that I've realized that I don't care about her side scheme, or as a solo player, it's really not great. Because it takes up so much thwarting and it slows you down. Plus, I'm a bit more on the rushy side. Like, I just like to go punch a villain. And
I'm
I'm
into
not I'm not here to build. So she does actually itch that scratch because of all of her like good attack stuff. And so her events. And so I do like that aspect of her, but it's sort of I know I'm supposed to be doing the whole like shopping thing, and it's just slows me down, and I don't like that. And yeah,
Yeah, in solo, I could see it being more difficult because you'd have to find some other way to clear the scheme, or you'd have to do flip down twice, and that's tough in solo. I totally get that. In 2 and above, I always just ask someone to do it once for me, right? And then I'll do the second clear, and then I pull out whatever upgrade I'm going for that game. If I'm going heavy attack, I just pull the glasses. I don't care about the coat, and we're just going face. But in solo, I could see the struggle. But I love her gimmick of the different resources and making expensive cards awesome. So big Jubilee fan. I know, shout out to Krautbammer from Stunned and Confused. You were also a huge Jubilee fan. That's my guy. All right. Okay.
Feels kind of like what Bishop wanted to be, and
Which
like,
is fun.
yeah, fun. Big Bishop haters on this show.
Didn't get there.
But-
yeah, we are big Bishop
oh,
haters.
I am not a bishop hater. Oh.
What?
Yeah,
No,
big
I don't
Bishop
know.
haters here.
Well, I should say I have not explored him a lot. The mutant characters don't get a lot of deck building with me,
Mm.
but he was the one I
Valid.
did Age of Apocalypse campaign with, and I quite enjoyed him.
Wow.
It-
Okay. Okay.
I love resource sinks. It's lovely. Oh, and I will say, as someone who hates defending, I almost never do it.
Ah,
Um,
he's good for that.
the Yeah, his little ability, and you get like
Uh-huh.
resource cards, and it's lovely. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise, no.
I have to
So
say, I'm not here to yuck anyone's yums. If you're into Bishop, that's cool. I'm glad he exists for people who like him. I just don't find it enjoyable, so we do tend to give him some hard times on this podcast.
He
What can I
he
say?
was pretty low on both our rankings, I think.
Yeah, and the
I think
community.
he was
I don't
like
remember where the community
bottom
put him.
3 for me.
Yeah, same.
He was like
Saved only
really
by
down there.
Falcon, Hulk, and Valkyrie.
Yeah, he's saved by Hulk. He was actually below Valkyrie on my list.
Oh, it's below
I'm
Falcon. I
like,
think.
where
for
was he on mine?
mine. Okay. But yeah. Where was he on yours? Are you gonna tell us?
Maybe yeah. I actually have I have the
Standing by.
screenshots. 23 of,
Okay.
mind you, 48.
Kind of right
Still
in the middle,
pretty high.
basically.
Right in the middle. Yeah. Yeah, because I did not rank anybody that I had not played yet. And
Same.
I don't own a
Same.
bunch.
Oh, okay.
And
I
so,
did.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know. I heard.
We know,
Thank
ladies and
you.
gentlemen, we know.
Yeah, we know. So I only had 48 that I ranked at the time. And
Okay.
so, yeah, he's like kind of in the middle. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's dive into the card of the day. And before we get into the card of the day, we need to talk about She-Hulk. So I'm not even going to read the card yet. I'm going to turn it over to you, Scarlet Rhodey, because I want to hear from you. When did She-Hulk come into existence? What is she all about? What are her powers? What color skin does she have? I want to know all of it. So over to you. Give us the skin.
All those things. Well, first, quick quiz for the two of you.
I
to
love
see.
quizzes.
Yeah,
You're a listener
I know
of the
you
show.
do.
I love it.
Liz.
All right, best guess. When did she first premiere in the comics?
1967.
Gonna say 70s, 74.
You were both way too early.
Is it like 99?
No, she's not that young.
2020.
So you'll either see, I think the cover date was 79 or 80, usually.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So, other fun fact, she's actually Stan Lee's last major Marvel creation.
Ooh,
So,
okay.
along with artist John Buscema. And so she first premiered in The Savage She-Hulk. And Stan wrote only the number one, and then a different writer wrote the rest of that series.
Okay.
There is, before I get to her lore, I think there's
Yeah.
actually fun why she exists lore.
Okay.
And may explain her profession as well. So back in the late 70s, there was a very popular TV show called The Incredible Hulk with
Yes.
Lou Ferrigno.
Lou Ferrigno, baby. Yeah.
Yes.
I used to watch
And
this as a kid.
so at the time, Stan was not much involved in the day-to-day operations at Marvel Comics, but was more or less licensing out Marvel stuff, trying to create movies, TV shows, that sort of stuff, cartoons. However, the Marvel was concerned that the Incredible Hulk folks who were producing their show would come up with a female Hulk first. And with copyright laws, they would have the copyright and licensing to any female version of the Hulk. And so to get around it, Stan created She-Hulk. Kind of slapdash, made her, created the series so that if the show ever got around to that, Marvel could clearly say, well, you're adapting our character who we've already created. And so it's my personal theory. This is why Jen Walters is a lawyer, because he had a lot of lawyers on his mind when he was creating Jen. And that's why she has like a very simple background. She is cousin to Bruce Banner and the Hulk. And for whatever reason, I think it was like he just shows up. She's, I think a district attorney in Southern California in her very first series. That would change a lot. And he comes to her, but she's prosecuting some mob people, and so they of course shoot up her car, and the only person around her who could give her blood to survive is her cousin, and so thus she gets his gamma blood and gamma powers. So she effectively has all the same Hulk powers. She can change like Bruce and Hulk, but she's just not angry all the time. Like she keeps her facilities, if you will, her brain power, all of that when she is hulked up. And so that was basically the concept. The first series was a lot of like her dealing with this and like going back and forth, hence Savage She-Hulk. But she really become like the character people know and love in the 80s. After she had joined the Avengers, she then got her second solo series, Sensational She-Hulk. And in that series by John Byrne, both drawn and written, that's when she got a more lighthearted version of her. She started breaking the fourth wall well before Deadpool even existed. And
Suck it, Deadpool.
She's probably the first Marvel character to really play around with that.
Whoa. Spider-Ham?
Yeah, I don't know. That he's new.
You telling me Spider-Ham wasn't around in 1979? No way.
We did that episode. Wasn't he in the 80s? I don't know. Go ahead.
I don't. But yeah, like she would break through like the white space in between panels. She'd yell at the editors because she didn't like story beats. It was a whole thing. It was very lighthearted, and throughout the 80s and 90s, her covers would also like play off of famous magazine covers at the time. Like there's one where she's like kind of naked playing off of like a pregnant Demi Moore, I think on Vogue or something. So she was very meta, but she's generally lighthearted, generally kind of the muscle, but she's also got the brains because she is an active attorney. She moved on from being a prosecutor in California to then becoming just a normal private attorney in New York for most of her runs. And a number of her runs are usually more about her relationships and less about punching things. And so that's like the general gist of Jen Walters. She is a woman who uses her like space, I guess you could say, to get what she wants. And she almost never switches back to Jen Walters, to a human version of her. She can. She chooses not to because the She-Hulk version of her is where all her confidence is. So like Jen is very insecure, less sure of herself, but She-Hulk is always confident and like does not care that she is a 6-7 foot green woman in a suit in a room. She loves it. She loves the attention. She's a bit of a celebrity kind of superhero. And she's been on a bunch of different teams because those times where she doesn't have a solo book, she's usually put on a team book or showing up. There's actually a time where she was on the Fantastic Four.
I knew that.
Yep. She replaced the Thing while he was having like, I don't know, emo moments or something. And so, yeah, I love her. She's one of my favorite comic book characters. She's only one of two attorneys who are prominent in Marvel Comics, her and Daredevil. And so,
can I interject a question? Because I did not watch the She-Hulk TV show. I did not hear great things. I heard mixed things.
Fantastic.
But I didn't. Okay, I've now heard great things. There goes that. But for the most part, I haven't heard great things. But I did hear a rumor that Daredevil did a walk of shame. Is it true that her, Jen, She-Hulk, and Matt, Daredevil are like a thing? Is that comic accurate, or is that just like a weird show
No,
thing?
that's a show thing. Yeah. To like get him to have a cameo. However, she does have a laundry list of dudes. So yeah,
okay. I'll get it, girl.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was just for the show and hilarious. I will say her TV show, which I know a lot of people did not like, and I think the people that complained the most about it are probably the people that were the villains in the show. But it is maybe one of the most comic accurate MCU projects I've ever watched. They nailed her whole like vibe. There is fourth wall breaking. There's like, it is more sitcom than it is like an action show kind of thing, which fits in with when she has solo books. Yeah, I mean, for cost reasons, she is Jennifer Walters a lot more than she is in the comics, but like, I get it. CGI ain't cheap. So
I heard the CGI was bad in that show. Is that true?
I don't know. I'm not a person to judge the CGI stuff because I don't. Fair. I'm an elder millennial, so I'm like, it looks fine.
Star Wars
Like,
had clay figures when I was a kid.
yeah, I'm like, really, like, I don't
Yeah,
know. I'm not that picky about it.
fair.
Yeah, I so
Okay. So what do you love about She-Hulk? And what the hell are She-Hulk's powers? She's just a Hulk. She's just strong. Is that
yeah,
her powers?
yeah,
Okay.
that's about
Okay.
it. Yeah,
Well then, what do you love about She-Hulk?
I mean, she's strong. She has good, like invulnerability. It's very difficult to hurt her, that sort of stuff. But I think I always like her. Is she's the comedy in a lot of series when she's in a team. She's comedic relief. She just exudes confidence. She's a smart lawyer, and I do love that. Her 2014 run, yeah, by Charles Sewell, who is actually a former attorney himself, was actually like really great. I use it in my class that I teach, and so yeah, she's just like always really really fun to read, and she's got good adventures and good like just vibes. I just love She-Hulk. Like I know outside of one run, I know I will not be reading a bad She-Hulk comic.
Okay. So as a She-Hulk reader, you're a comic reader. If I wanted to start with She-Hulk, where would I start? What's the best place to go?
Depends. Probably, I personally do like that Charles Sewell run. The art is controversial. Not everyone likes the artist. But it's a nice 12 issue run. And kind of
I
like,
like that.
yeah,
Concise.
it's condensed sort of. The issues are not, there is some like longer serialized moments, but a lot of it is sort of like one or two issues are like a story. And there's a lot of good cameos. Like there's Captain America cameo, Ant-Man, Hellcat is in it quite a bit. Her signature ally. That one I think is good. It starts with a new status quo for her. She starts her own law firm in the first issue, and so it's sort of that vibe. Otherwise, I would really recommend the most recent solo books that she had, which were written by Rainbow Royale. Roy, Rowell, yeah. That one is a bit more slice of life. She is like trying to figure out herself, and so there's less punching, more she gets a new relationship, like a real one. Usually she just hooks up with guys, and some other like good stuff. But like, I like that writer. She also wrote like a great Runaways series, and so and like some really good art. So
Okay. Um, I think that, ladies and gentlemen, do you have any questions about She-Hulk before we dive into how that applies to the cards?
Not really. I know she had fourth wall breaking stuff, but not like I didn't know that she was like kind of the original.
Does she break the fourth wall outside of her books? Like in the Fantastic Four books, is she breaking the wall?
not really. I don't see that very often. Like, definitely not in Avengers books. Almost nobody ever uses it outside of in her solo books.
Okay.
And that's kind of like, I would say in the 80s and 90s, it was much more prominent than it has been lately.
Okay.
So, yeah, she's basically consistently gets like one like long series every decade. She had that one in the 80s, the sensational She-Hulk from like 84 into like I think the early 90s, and then she had another one from like 94, and then oh no, I'm sorry, she had another one in 2004 by Dan Slott, which is also a fantastic read, and then the 2014, and then she had one like just a couple years ago. Yeah, but fun fact before we move on, that sensational She-Hulk was actually at the time when it ended in the 90s the longest running series for any superheroine
Okay.
at the time. Yeah. So
Well, congratulations, She-Hulk.
Getting after it.
I've heard superheroine is a hell of a drug, but you heard it here. It's recommended by Scarlet Rhodey. Thank you, Scarlet Rhodey. Let us dive into the card for now, and we'll see how this applies thematically. I'm going to share the card on the screen, so if you're watching this on the YouTube, lucky you, you're going to see it. If not, we're going to read it to you. So, let's start with the alter ego side. Lazy Titan, would you mind reading this alter ego to us, and then we'll discuss it briefly before flipping and reading the other one.
Of course. Jennifer Walters is a unique character with 5 recovery, has the attorney and gamma traits, has the eye objectability interrupt when threat would be placed on a scheme. Prevent one of that threat once per round. And then has a hand size of 6, hit points of 15. It has the flavor text, I can turn to Hulk anytime I want. But just because you can do something doesn't always mean you should.
Yeah. There's a bunch of cool things to talk about here. First of all, I want to talk about the little face in the corner because that is a Boom Guy special. This face is a little off to me. It just looks a little weird.
It's one of the early ones.
The earliest. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's not good. No, the face ones were never good compared to the mask ones.
True. The mask ones are always better.
Yeah. I will say
better.
this one kind of reminds me a little of like her look in Savage She-Hulk. She was a bit more like harried. But yeah, no, it's terrible.
Well, I mean, getting right to it here. I think other than that, I mean, okay, attorney. Is there more than one attorney in the game? Is that the only keyword in the game, right? There's no other attorneys.
Yeah, she has, I think, maybe the two of the rarest keywords, like the rarest keyword combination.
Space Knight.
Yeah, but there's no other attorney and there's only one other gamma, so I think she has the rarest combination of keywords.
I mean, Venom has only Space Knight, so I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Space Knight is cheating. Okay.
Space Knight is cheating.
I think she is because I don't. It's not on like the Daredevil.
The ally. He doesn't have it.
Yeah, but I'm sure once we get him, he'll have it as well on his alter ego. But yeah, I think she's it right now. Which I mean, they during the core they still didn't know what they were doing with traits. A lot of them are just for funsies.
That's true. But this is custom art by Andrea DeVito and Laura Villari. It's the first time we've heard those names. And we'll get to the other side in a second. I think the ability is cool. This is like a pretty unique ability. I think it's kind of cool, and it fits with the attorney vibes. I'm kind of digging it. Let's flip over and look at the other side before we kind of dive into these a little deeper. And Scarlet Rhodey, I'm going to have you read this one because why not? You're the guest.
All right.
Why don't you read She-Hulk for us?
All right, She-Hulk. She's got 1 thwart, 3 attack, 2 defense, Avenger and Gamma traded. Do you even lift? Response. After you change to this form, deal 2 damage to an enemy. I'm 6'7" and bright green. People are gonna stare no matter how I dress. And she's got a hand size of 4 and hit points of 15.
Yeah. This is a really interesting hero, and like just the hero card for me might be the most interesting one from the core set. Like this flipping and this attorney ability is really cool. I should say that this art is from Red She-Hulk Volume 1, number 64 from 2012. I don't know what Red She-Hulk is all about, but that's the comic it's from. What do you Lazy Titan and or Scarlet Rhodey, you can chip in here. What do we think about these as a whole in terms of art? Like, we're talking about both sides here.
I think I prefer her hero art to the alter ego art in general.
100.
It's the comic book art. It's nice, and there is a time when they stopped doing comic book art for the heroes. I want to say Thor might be the last one. And I think it's licensing because they go on the hero packs. Oh no, you know what? Sorry, Spider-Woman's the last one. Yeah, the other side. So I think it's a pastiche of like so many images of her from the comics. Like there are many images of her like going into court. Because a lot of times when she does cameo in other books for like an issue, it's usually some other like they're in legal trouble, and so they always go to She-Hulk as their lawyer. And it's fine, but I think it's her face that looks a little like not like her. Like they just drew a woman, but not Jen Walters.
The alter
and
ego
then
side.
Colored her green. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I meant the alter ego side.
That's weird.
Yeah. So it's not my favorite. It is not the worst in the core set to me, but it's like fine.
Who has the worst core set art?
Oh my god, Black Panther, T'Challa. That alter ego art is awful.
Huh.
Do my man wrong.
Doesn't jump out at me. I'd have to look at it again. I don't stick in my mind as like particularly terrible. Okay. Lazy Titan, what do you think of this art?
I like both sides. I think both sides are solid. I definitely think the hero form is better. popping over the name tag with the fist, clearly doing some kind of very hulky business, which I do like.
Hulky
Um,
business. Okay.
I like it. I think, and she does have a good color scheme. Purple and green is
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
a good color
that.
scheme. And
Yeah.
the white actually helps it a lot, I think. Hulk can sometimes with just like the purple shorts and the green can look kind of like just kind of standard, but the
Mhm.
white like kind of superhero suit very much helps like differentiate it a little bit, but still kind of get the purple green Hulk vibe, which I like a lot.
Yeah, I like the art on these fine. I don't think either of them is like grabbing me. Neither of them is offensive. I do find the alter ego to be the weaker of the two. The face in the corner. Sorry to the guy or woman or people who do those. They just this doesn't really work for me. Um, yeah, the hero is like a little. She's like punching clearly, but the sky is kind of nondescript. I actually can't see what she's punching, so that is a little bit of a downer.
She's on a plane.
Okay.
She's like on the
I
wing
mean,
of a plane.
you only know that because you read the comic.
Yeah,
That's not
Yeah,
evident.
I know where this
there's
art comes from.
no way you could possibly know that without by
No,
looking at
no,
art
yeah,
if you
yeah,
didn't
I
know
know
already.
that. Yeah, yeah.
So a little bit of cheating, but I respect it.
Yeah, I respect the hustle. Okay, let's. And again, we're gonna kind of go back and forth between the two here. I just have the hero on the screen because I am a luddite and don't know how to share two things. But maybe I'll go back and forth. So theme. Let's move into the theme of this card. How do we feel about? Does this fit She-Hulk? Does all of it come together? The flavor text, the abilities, the stats, all of it. Does it say She-Hulk to us?
Oh, 100%.
Okay, go on.
Yeah,
Say more.
yeah. I think it's so overall. This is my biggest hot take. Is I think this might be the best ID card in the game, or if not like one of the best. Just for
In the
like all
entire
it does
game?
in the whole game. Yeah, because a lot of people got boring things going on, and or they're just like, go find this one card and put it down. Yeah, no, she's got a lot going on. She gets two really good abilities, and I think it is very thematic. So on her alter ego side, you get the I object, which she's like in court objecting because she's the attorney, and all of her thwart stuff in her kit is all very attorney coded.
True.
Yeah, aside from Hellcat. And then the other side, you get to flip, which I think, one, she's an interesting character in the core box. She's, to me, the most complex core box hero because they wanted you to be flipping back and forth.
My man is full of takes today. Okay, I love it.
Yeah, oh,
I
I've
love
been
it.
thinking about him. But you get to change, and then she just punches something because you kind of like pissed her off. Sorry, family friendly. You angered her.
Yeah.
And so by angering her, you get this version of her, right? So you switch from the nice attorney, and then you get the She-Hulk who's kind of like, what, dude? No. And so you get that, and I think that's really cool. And I think it's nice. Like, and it does her abilities, particularly Do You Even Lift? Which I'm gonna be honest, I totally thought there was a bro at the end of that.
I did too. I did
For the
too.
what? This is. I'm like, wow, is that? I've got the card in front of me too. I was like, is that really? No, bro. Anyway, I think that is the thing that tells you you're supposed to be flipping with her and creating like the theme of what you're supposed to be doing with this hero. And I think that's great because two free damage is like lovely to me as someone who wants to just punch things and get done with this game.
I think one of the things I love, as we're kind of talking about the core box more broadly here, one of the things I love about She-Hulk is she's just kind of like a weird choice for the core box, right? This is peak MCU time, and MCU or no MCU, Spider-Man, of course, he's like just a household name, but it's peak MCU. So we got Tony Stark, of course. Captain Marvel was like either in the MCU or very close to the MCU at that point.
She was.
Wakanda forever. What's his name? Black Panther was all over. He had a movie. He was huge. And then there was She-Hulk, which was kind of like a weird choice. She wasn't in any MCU projects. It's kind of a, can we say, B or C list character? Is that offensive to you, Scarlet Rhodey? Like, it's not a main character.
I think I would say probably B because she is one of the prominent Marvel female characters, which there's not a lot of them. So probably like low B, I would say.
Okay.
I would
Okay.
never say C because she carries her own series well, and I don't think a C-lister can carry a series, a solo
Okay.
book.
She's not Husk or
Um,
something.
yeah. Um, but yeah, I think I agree. I think she's an odd choice. However, for comic book people, and they were saying immediately, this is a comic book based game, not an MCU based game.
That's true.
This
That's
is
true.
this is the thing that signaled to us. There's actually a few things in the core box that signal to us, but this is the real thing that was like, hey, we are not going to only do MCU characters. Because I think a lot of games at the time were probably only focusing on those who were popular in the MCU. And so you throw She Hulk, who's very popular, very well known in the comics, um, in here that tells people like me who, like, yeah, enjoy the MCU, but also really enjoy reading the comics, that like this game is not just saying it to say it, but like they mean it. The fact, and then on top of that, the first three releases included Miss Marvel,
Yeah.
who
True.
was very much a comic book choice at the time, and so I think those little things, the fact that Tigra was an ally in the core box, that like speaks to the comic book people. Like
Okay.
they're not in the MCU, that sort of thing. So I think she was kind of used as that, and potentially because I think they wanted to flip her, and she works in that thematically, flipping between this sort of like, you know, alter ego to hero side that I don't think any of the like, even the first wave doesn't have a strong, maybe Black Widow. Oh well, Miss Marvel, but like Miss Marvel could have been here, honestly. But yeah,
Lazy Titan, what do you think about She-Hulk here? Does this feel thematic to you? Like someone who doesn't read the comics and isn't super invested in She-Hulk,
As
do you
someone who
get a
doesn't
sense of
know
She-Hulk?
a lot about She-Hulk, I feel like you get the sense of the double life, which I feel like was much more of a theme in the early game. Like the double life was kind of more important. But I think you get a sense of the switch. To me, I don't know why, but I always envisioned the "Do you even lift" as her jumping at somebody. I apropos of nothing, I always imagine her like ground slamming onto somebody's head from the air in this pose. I imagine she's like
Mm,
Iron Man landing on somebody's head. That's always what that meant to me.
beat
So
him
that
up.
didn't have any theme to She-Hulk. It makes way more sense for her to just be like get angry and switch to Hulk mode. But
hmm?
it feels again, I don't know really anything about She-Hulk, and especially didn't at the time. Um, it doesn't feel like She-Hulk, but it feels like a hero who has more weight on the alter ego, which it sounds like She-Hulk does. So it feels like a hero who is clearly more important that they're not a superhero than just a superhero. So that felt kind of feels more emphasized.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
I think I like the flavor text on both sides too. I think that's thematic, and it explains the character a little bit. I think both of her abilities have awesome names, and in the entire game, most of the names on abilities I don't even remember, to be honest. I don't even know what they are. I think Captain America's like now I can
I can
remember,
do
but
this
his
all
alter
day.
ego is well, he has
Yeah.
all. I was thinking about the other side. I can do this all day is easy, but he has like the what is
Oh
it?
yeah.
Living legend.
Living Legend. That's what it is.
Mm.
Come on,
He's like one
bro.
of the few that I remember, but most of them I don't like remember the names of the ability. I just remember the abilities. Hers I remember both of them. They're named very well, and this isn't even a character I play a lot. So it's cool. I do like her stats. 3 attack, right, and the 2 on flip. So right away you're doing a bunch of damage when you flip over. So I think it feels thematic to me as someone who doesn't know a ton about She-Hulk. But then we kind of start to get into the next discussion, which I think might be controversial because usually we talk about power of a card. So, and again, we're kind of talking about the hero and alter ego, but we're also kind of talking about her kit holistically because this is a deep dive. So we can bring in more than just this card in the power discussion, but, keeping it centered here. The power of She-Hulk is hotly debated. There are some She-Hulk apologists, and they will gaslight you into believing that She-Hulk is good.
No,
They will fight
They
she's
you.
will.
great. I
There
will
There
fight
are.
see,
I
this.
won't
we
say any
have one
I
names,
am
on this
not an
but
podcast.
there are
apologist.
people on this podcast who may even fight
I'm
you
not
on
gonna
this
say
point.
who.
I'm not
I'm
gonna
not
say
gonna
who.
say who.
I don't want to throw
I
anybody out there because I don't want to reveal to the public who is a She-Hulk fan. But I think if they knew, you might get torn to shreds.
One of us is gaslighting the other two, and I don't know who it is. So, okay, I know what you're gonna say, Scarlet Rhodey. So why don't Ladies and Titan, why don't you make the counterpoint? I don't think you're a huge She-Hulk fan, so why don't you tell me what you think of her power, and then I want to hear it from Scarlet Rhodey.
I will say, at the very least, anecdotally, it took me about a week to come up with a good idea or a good enough idea for a deck for this podcast, because I could not think of a single thing that She-Hulk could do with all the cards that was like unique, that was like interesting.
Skull emoji.
I've seen a lot of things. I've seen a lot of
I've seen some
decks.
things in my
I've
day.
seen many things in my
I've
day.
seen a lot of decks.
I've seen
So
the
many
deck
decks.
that I built before, by no means super original. I've seen Quick Strike with her +2 attack card. I've seen people do Clarity of Purpose. I've seen you can obviously do Shield because she thwarts an alter ego. You can do Spiders because everyone can do Spiders. There's a million things you can do. I looked through all of them. They just weren't super exciting. The most fun part about this card is the flipping thing. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
She-Hulk, I will say though, does have one of my go-to examples for a card that didn't need to be limited, which is Gamma Slam.
Yes.
I have always been a Gamma
Mm.
Slam, like a person who thinks Gamma Slam should be unlimited, because if you want to get to 25 hit points and then go down to 1 and do 24 damage for 4 cost, I'm going to let you do it.
You should be able to.
You should be able to, because
God
there's
bless ya.
already an inherent limit on the card
Yes.
by the fact that you can't take too much damage or you lose. I don't think it needs to. I've always been a hater of that choice, but that's fine. She-Hulk, just a lot of her cards are very outpowered now, like just feel very bad. Ground Stomp is rough. 1-2 Punch is still good. Split Personality is still good, but like half of her 7 or 8 of her cards are like woof. And her hero ability is cool, but it doesn't scale super well in higher player counts, especially. In 4 players, 2 damage is 2% of a villain's health. Not super helpful. It's something. 1 threat is more useful. It's always pretty good because you can. It just basically means if you're an alter ego, you can always negate your 1 threat on the scheme for the tick of the turn, which is good. That's always good. It again gets worse as you go higher, but scales better. But her built-in cards are just too outshone by everything else, and because you have to play them, that means at minimum 10 of your cards are not super good and built towards what you want to be doing.
Scarlet Rhodey, counterpoint. Keep it short. Keep it short.
So, no, I think
Civilized.
the first thing is it's core box. I think there's a lot of shenanigans. And like when you think about even somebody like a Captain Marvel, who people love and talk about her power, she also has massive clunkers in her kit.
Yes.
For sure.
100%.
That like nobody wants to play. And I think with She-Hulk, one of what I've always felt is one of the problems with like this perception of her is because she was so different than the rest of the heroes in the core box, that for a while, like I know, last time I was here, I said this was my first like LCG or like anything like this. It took me months to fully figure out how I should be playing this woman. And like once it clicked, she clicked and she immediately became my favorite hero at the time. And so, and she's still the community ranking number 3. And so, I think you just have to like lean into that. She wants to punch stuff. Let her punch. And so giving her the tools, if it's an aggression, great. She just needs more aspect help. And I think we just have so many heroes that like literally could care less what aspect cards you have. You can just play their 15 and win, right? The aspect cards are just to pay for that. And I think she does need it. Like a lot of the core box heroes do. They're not fully there. But she has like a lot of cool stuff, like superhero law division. Now that they removed the thwart from it, it's great. She really doesn't care if she gets confused now. And you can just kind of keep doing 2 But I do think something that you mentioned, Lazy Titan. I think she is better actually in solo, or probably two, than she would be at four, because of a lot of her things do scale better at lower counts. I'm a solo player. She is fantastic at it. I object. There it is. That's the whole, like, for most main schemes, that's it. There's no like
For sure.
you just skip that whole thing, and then I get to use superhero law division, and that's like a good chunk of the threat on a side scheme, because they're average at three, right, three or four, um, and the two is either getting rid of a complete minion, or doing a pretty decent amount of damage to the villain at that point, like for free, and avoids retaliate
Yeah.
and avoids stuns.
Yeah.
That's not an
Guard.
attack.
Yeah.
Guard, like it's very flexible, even if it's not a lot. So I think she's just fun. I think maybe she's not the most powerful, but she is a fun time because you are getting to do that flipping and doing a lot of things with her. But yeah, just punching. I mean, she has like what, two, maybe three copies of 1-2 punch. That's a lot of readying, and I can't remember. That's a lot of readying and punching for her
You
at three.
you just I mean, you started to take us into the fun, which is the final category. Before we get there, I kind of wanted to say the quiet part out loud. I think at this point it is a not very well kept secret, if you've been following the game, that originally there were plans for 5 aspects instead of 4. And one of them was scrapped right before, in the final stages of production, so it is told. And there are 5 heroes in the core box. I think it's pretty clear there was meant to be 5 different aspect precons, and I think the one that got cut is clearly the one that was supposed to be with She-Hulk, which they've said, or is an open secret, the determination aspect, which it was all about hurting yourself to get benefits, which she already kind of plays into and probably would have been a very fine precon. So I think she got a little hosed on that side because
Mm-hmm.
she was designed for an aspect that ended up getting cut, and I think she suffers as a result quite clearly. I think the 4 hand size can be rough for someone who doesn't have like super research generation. Nowadays,
Mm.
4 hand size heroes like SPDR and Colossus and Psylocke have a lot of tools to pay for things and other things. I think She-Hulk suffers because she doesn't have all that stuff. So power-wise, I mean, you mentioned Captain Marvel. That's maybe a fairly decent through line there. She also has some stinkers in her kit, as you so elegantly
For
said.
sure.
That
Yeah.
is offset by the fact that she can draw a ton of cards, and that saves every hero, right? So just drawing cards and having more cards in hand means you can just get more better cards later. Um, I am on the. So we're not talking about fun. That's like a. Well, that's next. We're talking about power.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm on the low side of power. I think she's not, to me, she's probably in the bottom third. Maybe I'm not building her right, but of power. I think there's a lot of strong heroes. That's no slight to She-Hulk. I think she just has some clunkiness. Some of it's as a result of being a corset hero. Some of it's just the way she's designed. Maybe some of it's how I'm playing her. Totally fair. But when we talk about fun, Scarlet Rhodey thinks she's very fun. I am kind of ambivalent, to be honest. I don't dislike She-Hulk. There are heroes I dislike far more than She-Hulk. I don't particularly like She-Hulk, though, either. I think the fun is right in the middle. As we're talking here, I was going to quickly look up my rankings. How did I rate She-Hulk? Ooh, 48 out of 57. Okay, so I guess the fun is maybe towards the bottom, but there's a lot of good heroes now. So I did rank her 48, so she was like in the bottom 11. Okay, it's not great. Lazy Titan, Scarlet Rhodey has and will talk about She-Hulk endlessly, but Lazy Titan, what do you think about how fun she is? Kind of quickly give us a wrap up there.
I think she is one of those heroes. There's a couple of them. Bishop was one of them a couple times before I learned my lesson of like basically gets me with the window shopping, and I'm like, ooh, that's a fun hero ability. That's a cool alter ego ability. Stat line's pretty cool. Hand size is kind of fun. 6'4" is interesting. And then you're like, oh, that seems cool. And then I read through her cards and I'm like, ugh, yikes. Okay, that's pretty cool. Damn. Okay. And then you just you're like, okay, yeah,
Back in the
I can
box.
make 1-2 punch and Gamma Slam work. No, I got this. I can do because her coolest card is split personality. That is really, really, really cool. And that's always been fun. I will say in my scathing remarks earlier, I was not including fun of She-Hulk. I think She-Hulk's fun. She-Hulk is fun, interesting. The early flipping mechanics is fun to look at. She's got some alter ego stuff. She has a good idea, and if you took all 15 of her cards and literally just changed the numbers so that they fit the modern day better, I think she works pretty well. So she's mostly just a victim of the time. She has a ally with like a fine ability. I spent a lot of time trying to figure out a way to use Hellcat because I don't like allies, and I don't like an ally that does basically nothing is even worse for me.
Oh, come on, that's a slight. Hellcat is solid. Hellcat's a
Hellcat's
solid ally.
fine.
Yeah.
I really,
Yeah.
I really, really tried to think of a way to give Hellcat Guardian, so I could play Guardians of the Galaxy, put upgrades on her, and then when she's about to die, bounce her back, and then basically reset and put more upgrades on her and draw through my deck. I looked through everything I could possibly think of. You can't do it. It's not possible.
Split personality though might be the best flipping event card in the game.
Yeah.
I agree.
Straight up.
I think
it's so good.
it's
There aren't
so
that many,
cool.
but that's the best one. I
You
think.
only get one of them,
Yeah.
which sucks. I wish you had two.
But
it is really fun.
Yeah, I think 2 would be lovely. And it's sort of the timing, right? You should not play it while you're in alter ego. You should always play it when you're in hero.
For sure.
To get that just pump of money.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and I think not to totally derail and go back to power a little bit, but yeah, I get it. I get what you're all saying. I think she is a core box hero, and there are I'm gonna say only 4 bad cards in her 15.
Bold.
And well,
Bold.
I just put them all out in front of me.
For
The 2
specific cards or for
total.
For total.
4 out
Okay.
of the 15.
Okay.
That's bold.
Well, Ground Stomp,
Yeah,
2
that'll do it.
copies,
Ground Stomp's
and 2
bad.
copies of Legal Practice, which I think is her worst card.
that is
And
her worst card.
The rest are all pretty
Playable.
yeah, they're all playable. They're all have ways. I mean, I'm not a Gamma Slam person. I think it's a big trap, and I never play
Lazy
toward.
Titan is a huge Gamma Slam fan.
I'm not even a
no.
Gamma Slam fan. I don't even like the
I
card that
think-
much. I just am mad for you She-Hulk players that card is limited. Because if you
Oh.
have a right to put a symbiote suit and endurance on yourself, go up to 28 hit points, go
Amen.
down to 1, and pay 4 for 27. You have a right to achieve that. And I think it's criminal that they didn't let you.
Okay. I don't want to dwell here too long. We do also have to get through the decks today. So let us transition into our final thoughts. Let's give She-Hulk a final score, keeping in mind that we are going to talk about She-Hulk for the rest of the month. So we do have to save some thoughts there. I will, Scarlet Rhodey, I'm going to let you go first because you're the guest. They are final thoughts, brief final thoughts, and a score out of 10. Where does She-Hulk rank
Ooh.
for you?
Just the ID card or the whole hero?
Well, it's kind of the whole hero is what we're talking about.
Okay. Well, I think final thoughts. I think she's generally misunderstood, and I think she can be very fun if you find your good hooks in her, which I'm going to talk about a couple in that deck. And yeah, she's just like a good fun time. Flip around, punch some stuff, thwart an alter ego. Well, not officially thwart.
Remove
but
threat.
yeah, remove threat. I'm gonna. I mean, I'm gonna give her like a 8 out of 10. Maybe a 10 out of 10 if Legal Practice didn't suck. Because even Ground Stomp,
10 out of 10 with Ground Stomp in the kit is crazy. That is
So-
wild.
Let the man talk. Let the man talk.
So I think one of her other problems is the amount of Ultron tech in all of the core box heroes. The same with like that War Machine and
Yes.
Iron Man. Ground Stop is 100% Ultron tech, and I think if it was a 1 cost, it would be way better. But I think sometimes because one of her biggest problems are toughs on enemies, because she wants to throw that 3 damage on something, and a tough is in the way. And sometimes Ground Stomp is just what you need for that one little thing, unless you have an ally to ping it or something else, or piercing. Piercing was a great keyword for her, and like that tech. But yeah, no, Legal Practice is just trash. Straight trash.
It is.
it is what it is. But yeah, probably 8. I mean, I know I'm optimistic. I love her as a character. She's one of the things I have played her so much over the last what 5-ish years, almost 6 years of playing this game, and I yeah.
You don't have to defend your decision to defend She-Hulk, sir. I have been defending Vision for 2.5 years and 72 episodes of this
I know.
podcast.
It's been like almost 5 years of me defending her.
It's fine. It's fine.
Hey, you're not saving the smoke too. Vision's been bad the whole time too.
No,
Let's
whoa,
not stop the cap.
hey, that's not true. Why don't we, Lazy Titan, why don't you go next and give us your final thoughts? Score out of 10, 5 is true neutral. Where do you land on She-Hulk?
I will say final thoughts. I think She-Hulk trying to stay away from the specific cards because obviously we have a couple more cards to come.
Yep.
But on her own, She-Hulk is a very interesting idea of like a flipping hero, kind of the first one to really care about flipping that much and have a card dedicated to flipping more. So that was clearly like part of her kit, part of the design, and also like part of the game that they had to teach us. Because it was in the core set.
Yeah.
So I think she does that well of like wanting to, which is a part of the game that I fundamentally had an issue with for a long time. And I'm starting to get around to of flipping down because I was just like, but you can do damage in hero form. So why would I ever not do that? But more and more, you have to kind of play ball with the way the heroes are designed. Talk about this Deadpool at length. Play them how they're supposed to be. But She-Hulk has a clear design. She just has, my main gripe with her is that a lot of her cards are cool ideas that miss the mark by like just a little bit. Like Ground Stomp. If it was like, I get the idea that it's not an attack, but if it's an attack, I could scale it with stuff like Warrior Skill and like all those aggressive energy and all that stuff. That was my original idea for the deck, was obviously because I wanted damage. So I was like, oh, what if I make Ground Stomp 3? That's kind of cool. 2 for 3 damage and a bunch of things. That's pretty good, actually. And then you can build a minion deck out of that. It's not attack. And then her +2 attack thing, it's as soon as you attack at all, it discards. So you can't really like quick strike super well or go all out super well, like reliably over and over again. And like you can do it once. It's not a bad card, but like it doesn't have that extra bit of like tech that I just wish it had. Every one of her cards is like just unforgiving enough in deck building that you can't make any cool combos, which means she's kind of relegated to has cool cards and is interesting, which is a fun place to be, but it hurts that she's like the first character, and then because she's also relegated to that like tempo value character, she also has not scaled cards for the current 7 years later, so she gets kind of kicked in the knees twice of like her cards are 7 years old and also they weren't supposed to be super strong then, and then she kind of falls apart for me. But the idea is there. Like I said, if you redesign She-Hulk right now and all you did was change a couple numbers and some wording, she would be like really cool.
And was there a score in there or did I miss it? Because
sorry, I was rambling. I will give her
ramble
a 7 out of 10, with 5 being true neutral.
I'll
give her a 7 because I think judging her now as just like objectively a hero, not super good. But as the core set, she was cool. And she has a cool idea.
We have some math to do here because you gave She-Hulk a 7 out of 10. But if I were to look back, if I was the enterprising podcast host that I am, and I look back at the last episode where you ranked all your heroes, I would find She-Hulk down at 56 out of 61. That's even lower than I ranked her, sir. But somehow you gave her a higher score than I will give her. For me, she's a 5. She is
here's the thing. No, go ahead.
In the middle. I let you ramble.
I was going to ramble more, but I'll let you go.
Let me cook. I'm going to give her a 5. I think for me, she's right, true neutral, right in the middle. She is a hero that contrary to the score that I gave her bottom 11, I do not hate She-Hulk. I will play She-Hulk now and again. I kind of feel a lot of what Lazy Titan was saying, which is that I pull She-Hulk out. I think I haven't played her in a while. I look through the cards and I think, well, that's kind of cool. The flipping's a cool idea. And, I kind of like this legal practice thing. And then I look at more cards and I'm like, well, there's only one copy of Split Personality and it's kind of expensive for a 4-hand size hero. And like, I don't know. And there's these and that's just, and then I end up kind of just like quietly putting it back in the box and playing a different hero. It's not one I go back to a lot. But with that said, we are doing decks for episodes, so your boy has 4 She-Hulk decks to share with the community this week. I will say they're not amazing. I don't think there are that many hooks and diverse builds for She-Hulk that are really all that viable, so I kind of struggled to come up with 4, but I did pick different aspects each time. So with that said, why don't we head into the deck portion? We are already 67 minutes into this podcast, and the people want to know, and I'm a man of the people, they want to know what our decks
Famously.
are. So while I pull up the decks, if everybody else would just pull up the rating tool on their podcast player of choice, go ahead and drop 5 stars on there. And then when you're done with 5 stars, leave a few words. I'm still pulling up the screen share here. Leave a few
We got
words.
plenty of
Your
time.
favorite podcast. Let us know. Why do you love us? Why are we amazing? Why is our hook the best hook? And please, be generous in your praise.
Is
Okay.
this the latest you've done that in a
It might be. It's a
episode?
different time every time. It's different every time. Okay.
Is
But
it?
don't judge me.
I thought that was the second
Is
time we
it?
did it this time.
It might be the second time. Don't worry about it. If you've already rated us 5 stars, go download a new podcast player app and rate us 5 stars there.
Make a new account.
Make a new account. I am going to share
Bot
the
farm,
deck
guys.
that I built for this episode. So again, when I'm building these, I am trying to build with heroes I don't use very often, which She-Hulk is definitely one of those. Actually, I'm not going to go first. I'm going to let our guest go first because I think that's only fair. So I'm pulling an audible here. Scarlet Rhodey, here is your deck for the episode. Will you
That
please,
is my deck.
for people who cannot watch this on the YouTube, can you please read what the cards that you included? You don't have to read her aspect cards or her identity specific cards, but if you could just read the cards that you included and then kind of give us a brief overview
Yeah.
of the deck. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So the allies I included, in alphabetical order, Atlas Bear, Grant Ward, Hugin and Moonin.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Hugin and Moonin.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Yep. Anytime. Ironheart, Kalu, Kid Omega, Maria Hill, Slingshot, Vivian. And then for events, I put in 2 copies of, because I never put in 3 copies of anything, 2 copies of Assess the Situation, 2 of Limitless Stamina. Wow, I cannot talk. And 2 copies of Strength in Diversity.
Mm-hmm.
And then I put in a Call for Backup, player side scheme. Did all 5 resources, Energy, Genius, Strength, and 2 copies of Power of Leadership. And then supports, 1 copy of Regroup, 1 copy of Resource Reserve, and 1 copy of the Triskelion. And then just 1 upgrade on top of hers, which is 1 copy of Unshakable.
So walk me through, just give me a brief overview. What is the idea of this deck? How did it work?
Yeah.
Etc.
So I have made many a She-Hulk deck in my life. But this one, thinking about, we are talking specifically about the ID card, right? And so at first I was like, oh, thematically, she's been an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Maybe I'll make a S.H.I.E.L.D. deck, like Justice or Leadership. And then that, I wasn't really feeling that. And then I was like, I want to lean into allowing for flipping. So that way I sort of avoided aggression, although I think she's great in aggression. But so I wanted to find ways to flip her and also find split personality to flip her even more, if possible. And so that's why I added things like Kalu and Atlas Bear in order to find specifically events. Kalu is great for that because he searches the top 5 cards of your deck for an event, and then you just put it in your hand. And then also just card draw in general. That's why Maria and Ironheart are there. And Assess the Situation. I think that's a great card when building She-Hulk, or really any 4 cost, because it gives you that +1 at the end. And Slingshot, which is a relatively new card, I thought would be a really fun way, a cheap ally. I think whenever I build She-Hulk, I don't believe in putting anything in basically over 3 cost, and I want everything super cheap, so that potentially even in Hero I can play maybe 2 cards if they're both 1 cost or 0 cost. The same with Grant Ward. He's a 0 cost ally who might cost something if a treachery shows up. But if you don't have a mental, she can handle the 2 damage because she's got 15 health. but he's still a 0 cost 2/2 to help with some thwarting. But yeah, so that was sort of the focus, and then I like the idea of strength and diversity, which I had not used yet. Like I was mentioning earlier, I've not played Falcon or any of the cards in his precon. This has a number of cards from his precon, and I just think that's a cool sounding card, and I wanted to see like sort of what I could do with that because a lot of these like fun little allies that I was already thinking about are not necessarily Avengers or not necessarily one tribe. And so having that, and I will say, when I tested this out, I did get a strength in diversity with 7 different traits out.
Okay.
Because I do think She-Hulk is a nice character for that because on both sides, she has 2 traits, and not every hero gets to say that. And so I don't think we have any heroes with 3. So two's kind of maxed out, right? Um, and so that was sort of like what I was thinking about when I kind of put this together. I think back to that sort of power discussion, I think unshakable and limitless stamina are almost kind of required a lot of times when building her because stuns are one of her enemies as well. And getting them, not so much confused, but stuns for sure. So,
All right. So these will all be linked down below. So if you want to play them or try them out or leave a comment, please do. Mine is not published at the time of recording this, but as always, I will publish it on the day the episode goes live. And then anybody who submits a deck, I just try to challenge people to submit their own decks when they listen. Feel inspired, build a She-Hulk deck, I will add it to the list. So I'm going to go next. And then, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have the final deck to share. This is my deck here. This is fairly straightforward. I'll read the deck and then we'll talk about it. This is a leadership deck, 41 cards. It includes Black Knight, Blade, Captain America, Kalu, Maria Hill, U.S. Agent, and White Tiger. I have 2 copies of You Got This, 3 copies of Earth's Mightiest Heroes, 3 copies of Limitless Stamina. You can see where this is going. 2 copies of Noble Sacrifice, 3 copies of Squared Off. I have the 3 basic double resources, 1 Quinn Carrier, 1 Clarity of Purpose, and 1 Deft Focus. So this is nothing revelatory. It is here to spend the resources that we have and create more of them. Deft Focus, Clarity of Purpose, and Quinn Carrier are going to create resources for us. Squared Off essentially creates resources by putting allies into play for cheaper, and then we are going to use those allies to ready and heal ourselves with Noble Sacrifice and You Got This. And then Limitless Stamina and Earth's Mightiest Heroes, I'll just battery one of those allies to keep us readied. U.S. Agent and Blade in particular are awesome targets for Noble Sacrifice because they have very high hit points. U.S. Agent costs 3 and has 5 hit points, so you can heal for 5 and get a tough card with Noble Sacrifice. And Blade is 1 and heals you for 3 with a tough card. So those are great targets for Noble Sacrifice, and almost all of them have Avenger for Earth's Mightiest Heroes. So it's just play things for cheaper, ready up and draw. I basically don't flip with this deck. It was just intended to stay in hero form, smash, and be done with it. That is, it's a pretty straightforward one. But remember, I have to build 4 She-Hulk decks in the next 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So none of them are going to be particularly groundbreaking. But I did test this a bit. I will test it more before I publish it again. So it may change a little bit, but I think it's basically honed in. So that's my deck. Blue Gamma, it's called. Whatever that means. All
if
right.
I may,
Please, you may.
I love the inclusion of Black Knight. He's actually one of my favorite allies in a She-Hulk leadership deck.
Yeah.
If not for going the strength and diversity, I probably would have included him. I think he's great because he can get rid of those toughs for her.
Yeah.
That
A lot of
piercing
times you
is
have
like-
tough
yeah.
and he hits it. Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why he's there. Okay, now we're going to go to our friend Lazy Tide. You have the final deck of the day, so read it over and give us a quick overview if you wouldn't mind. This is called Justice is Blind.
She thinks we're playing aggression. There you go.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure the Justice is Blind, Lady Justice bit has never been done with. She-Hulk.
Never.
Lawyers never get
Nope.
that. So in classic fashion, we have allies. 1, the one we have to play, Hellcat. Moving on, we have events, 3 anticipated attacks, 3 counterpunches, 3 defiances, and 3 taunts. And then 3 player side schemes, mostly to set up anticipated attack, but also because she needs a lot of setup help because economy is very low in hero form, especially with build support and superpower training. Then we have established perimeter. We have a resource in preservation. And then supports, we have Angel's Eyrie, Avengers Mansion, Helicarrier, and Queen Carrier. Lots of resources, which is what we're looking for because 4 hand size is kind of rough. And then 2 Change of Fortunes, 2 Indomitables, 1 Nerves of Steel, and 3 Ready for a Fight. Wow, look, it's the card that everyone plays. A good card.
It's a great card.
Wow, we can flip our hero more than we normally can. It's pretty good for a flipping hero, seems like.
Yes.
Basic idea here is Change of Fortune is pretty good. And when you can draw up to 6 and then flip and kill a minion with your 2 damage in the flip to then draw up to 8 with Change of Fortune, I've heard the rumor is that having an 8 hand size is pretty good.
I've heard that too.
We can also draw more cards with Taunt, which again, she has 15 hit points, can generally take a smack, and also that's good because you want to take damage for your Gamma Slam. That's right, ladies and gents, I built a Gamma Slam deck. It's all about taking as much damage as you can and staying alive. So you have Perseverance to heal yourself when you spend it. You have Eerie if you really get low and it starts to hurt. You have your Indomitables to ready yourself to defend again, to make sure you can set the math right of where you want to be, how much you want to be defending for, because you don't want to die, but you want to get real close. You have her Focus Rage, which lets you draw some cards to do that. You have Taunt, obviously. And then you have Defiance to, again, measure to make sure you get your damage to exactly where you want to be. Anticipated Attack is just a really good defense card. It's just super good. Lets you defend for other people. I just like it a lot. And
So
then
good.
another tech I liked, and is the only reason there's 3 counterpunches in this deck. 1, she has 3 attack. It's pretty good. And Superhuman Strength gives her +2 attack, and then also after you attack the next time, you stun the enemy, which means it's a little bit of setup by playing Superhuman Strength, but that means next time you play Counterpunch, it does 5 damage and a stun for free on the villain phase. Pretty cool, actually.
And the rules change that happened a while ago is if you can't stun, right? If you kill the minion and you can't stun it, you can't fulfill the cost, which means the upgrade stays on. So if you use it for minions,
bang, another way to
you'll draw
trigger
cards.
Change of
Yeah.
Fortune.
Yes.
I thought that was pretty fun.
Clever.
Obviously, Avengers Mansion, Helicarrier, Queen Carrier are here to just keep your economy rolling. You have your Focus Rage, which also has more cards. So when you're fully set up, if you flip down, you can get a Focus Rage with 2 Focus Rages and an Avengers Mansion. If you get the Change of Fortune off, you have 11 cards in your hand, which is pretty good. And if you taunt, then you're up to 13. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool that you could do that. Protection's pretty good. But yeah, the Counterpunch tech was really fun. I thought 5 damage and a stun is really good against the villain, and also kills a lot of minions, especially if you just flipped up to do 2 damage. Also, one of my favorite parts about this deck is that Ready for a Fight needs a physical resource, and Legal Practice is a physical resource. So you have something to use Legal Practice for. It's actually useful in this deck because you can spend it for a card you want. Reservation's another wild resource, and then you have your Queen Carrier. So you should be able to get it out pretty reliably. Also, your 1-2 punches are physical resources, and so are your taunts. So you have the ability to get it. It's not like all punch, but I thought it was pretty cool.
But it's a fair bit of punch.
It's a fair bit of punch, as I like to do.
Yeah, and I do love the Ready for a Fight tech, which just like pulls you in and hits that extra 2 damage. I think it works really well with Change of Fortune.
And then you can also flip up, because you flip up in the villain phase, and then you can do your split personality, flip back, drop back up to 6, and then flip back again to do 2 more damage. Set those minions up, and then do the whole thing. Super fun.
Yeah.
It was the best way I could think of using her flip ability.
All right. Well, I will put links to all of these down below. Thank you so much to everybody for being here to talk today. Thank you so much to Scarlet Rhodey. It was awesome to have you here to get the
Thanks for
lore, to
having
get
me.
the comics history, to deep dive on these characters. I really appreciate that a lot. I think the listeners enjoyed that as well. So thank you for coming back again. And if we do another deep dive in the future, I will have you back in the podcast. I think we've already talked about what that's going to be. I'm not going to tell the listeners yet, but there is another one coming. And Lazy Titan, you were also here. All right, everybody who was here listening.
All right, buddy. Yeah, I got a bone to pick with you, all right? Now you made me mad. Now you made me angry. Now you're going to make me go off on aggression again.
Thank you for
don't get me ranting.
Listening to the People's Podcast. We love having you here. We will see you the next episode for another deep dive. See you in exactly 1 week, and we'll talk about another She-Hulk card. So thanks, everybody, and we'll see you at the next episode. Bye, everyone.